This card is intense. Barbed Servitor.
Yeah.
Green and
really
black.
cool art.
Yeah.
Artifact, creature, construct at rare, and it's a 1/1. It's a 1/1. Green and black. Indestructible. When it
So
enters the
much for it being
battlefield,
1/1.
suspect it. It
Oh,
has
suspect
menace
is
and
great.
can't block.
Suspect is one of the craziest keywords they've ever created.
Yes, yes. Whenever Barbed Servitor deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and you lose a life. When Barbed Servitor is dealt damage, target opponent loses that much life.
So it has the brash instigator text, which is the final
Yes.
bit, right?
Yes.
And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and loot.
Wait. So you deal damage to it, but it's indestructible, so it doesn't die.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And they
like
lose
it can
that
take
much
10
life.
damage.
So
and
this
it
is
would give them 10 damage.
But it can't block.
this is it can't block,
They
but
can block it.
they could block it, and if they don't block it, you're drawing a card. See, so it's
And if they do block it, they're still losing that.
they're
much
losing
life.
quite a bit of life, and this thing isn't dying. And it has
And you have to
menace,
double
so they
block
have to double block it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they literally have to double.
You're never blocking this card. You're never blocking this card.
Yeah, so it's just a draw.
This card is
It's just a
nuts.
draw.
Yeah.
It's just a draw.
Jeez.
You
So
could
You do one
unsuspect-
damage and draw a card, is what happens.
basic, and lose a life.
Yeah.
So it's
you lose a life.
so like Brash Instigator also can't block, right? I don't think. But this is basically a Toski with a Brash Instigator mashed together, kind of. Is what this feels like.
Yeah.
Now-
yeah.
I do want to talk about Suspect for a little bit. So Suspect is maybe the first mechanic that's effectively like a status effect. So, which is
Yeah.
weird that they're like going into new ground in year fucking 36 or whatever of Magic. But so when you suspect something, it has menace and can't block, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But then a whole bunch of things trigger off something being suspected. So you're like giving something a positive ability. So like you might want like there's a card that just says like
think he's the murderer.
yeah, because there's like a card that we're gonna see that's like
I mean, look at him.
it's like one black man. It's like one in a black or one black mana, and it's like destroy target creature with power 2 or less, or any creature of it suspected.
Okay.
So you like suspect your opponent's creature, blow it up for basically nothing. But at the same time, you could also suspect your opponent's creature just so they can't block. Like you just suspect a 1/1. You're like, attack me 1/1 menace, but now you can't chump block with your 1/1, so I can force through damage. Also, you can there's cards that will unsuspect things. So this thing theoretically could block. And this thing can block, it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to win the game in limited.
Yeah.
Like you better have trample. So just so you know, indestructible, the things that can do you know the 3 ways to get rid of something with indestructible?
Bounce.
Not counting that one.
Exile.
Exile, correct.
I mean, you can just send things to the graveyard.
No.
Okay. There's an exile, but there's not.
Exile is correct. The other one is forcing your opponent to sacrifice it.
Okay.
Kind of like a Lady Tremaine.
What about
Edict
Death
effects?
Touch? Does that
No.
Death Touch doesn't matter?
It doesn't
Okay.
take any damage. It doesn't die to any destroy effects. The third is giving it -X/-X.
Oh yeah,
Actually reducing its power and
reducing.
toughness.
Yeah.
So
I forgot that was a thing last time I played Magic, and I was like, oh.
I think this card's pretty good in Commander. Just in
agree.
the same janky ways that like Brash Taunter is and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this card is just good.
Because there's some cards like what
Plus 4 though.
what's yeah 4 is kind of a lot, but it's also an artifact, which means you can maybe cheat it out, do weird stuff.
Yeah.
What's that?
It also sucks if someone uses like blood for the blood god or
Well, I was gonna say Blasphemous Act is the most
Blasphemous
iconic.
Act. That's the one
Yeah.
I was trying to think of.
So
yeah.
Blasphemous Act does like 12 damage to all creatures or something.
I think it's 14.
It's a lot of damage.
It's a lot of damage.
It ends up costing like 1 mana in Commander. So it's like 1 red mana. It costs like 8 in a
Like,
red, but it costs
yes,
1
yes.
less for each creature in play.
Okay.
So in 4-player game, if there's 8 creatures out, it costs 1 red mana and does 14 to anything. So it's like a 1 red mana board wipe But if this is in play, it doesn't kill it, and also one of your opponent loses 14 life, or however many Blasphemous Axe does.
That's awesome.
They basically
Self-damage,
have
like-
to exile it.
like
No
Teeth and
destroy
Ambitions?
effects will kill it.
Yeah.
Like
This will be
Wrath of God
broken.
Jacob. Wrath of God Jacob
God damn
says
it.
destroy all creatures, and
Mhm.
this card cannot be destroyed because it's indestructible.
Yeah.
Alright, my go. Case of the Stash Skeleton, 1 and a black. For a new case. When this case enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and suspect it. I'm already in for this card. I have a 2/1 menace that can't block for 2. Sounds good. To solve, you control no suspected skeletons. I'm in for that.
Yep.
You just have to kill this thing, or I'm going
Send
to
it
keep
somewhere
attacking
else.
with it.
Someone
Or
trade.
send it somewhere else.
Yeah, you sacrifice it, but I mean, it's going to solve itself, right? Because either that or they're taking 2 every turn. Because
Yeah.
this thing's never going to stop swinging.
Yeah.
So then I can play 1 and a black
Once
and
again, they have
sacrifice
to
the case.
block it.
They have to double block it, yeah. 1 and a black, sacrifice this case, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So it turns
card
into
is-
Demonic Tutor. And this
So
is
this
a
card
rare.
This card is nuts. Nuts and limited.
Yeah, this card's insane and limited. I wonder if this is even playable and constructed.
I think so, especially in a sacrifice deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's Demonic Tutor.
It's
Demonic Tutor is just the bottom part.
Yeah.
1 of black sorcery, one of the best cards ever. I don't know about in Commander because
speed.
no one's killing your skeleton. You'll definitely have to sacrifice your skeleton in Commander.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
Well,
No,
it says
it says
activate only as a
yeah.
sorcery at the bottom.
What he said.
Oh.
Yeah.
It certainly does say that.
It does. A cool card. I mean, yeah, I'm rip slamming this in limited for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. This card is just hey, do you want another way to guarantee have your bomb?
Yeah, it's $15 right now, or $14.86. It's definitely my favorite case we've seen so far.
Case is entirely new, right, Thomas?
Huh?
Yeah.
Case is brand new.
Case
Case
is
brand new.
actually brand
What
new.
is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Case, suspect,
Cloak,
and the
Cloak.
one that was more
collect evidence, investigate,
investigate,
disguise.
disguise.
How many
The
mechanics?
other one.
So typically sets are supposed to have
7.
3 to 4 mechanics, but this one has 6 because when you are already printing all the words, why not print even more words but make them 6 different mechanics in one set?
Yeah.
Yes,
Just make the more words less.
Whose is it? It's yours.
I think
now.
it's mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jacob's. It's
All right,
Jacob's.
the deadly cover up, 3 and 2 black.
Mango, please.
Is that that is a rare, right?
Mhm.
Sorcery, rare. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may collect 6 evidence. Destroy all creatures if evidence was collected. Exile a card from an opponent's graveyard. Then search its opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that same name and exile them. Nice. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way.
Evidence was collected. Exile a card from your opponent's graveyard. Then
Did you get that, Gabe?
Did that come through loud and clear?
It
My goodness!
Yeah, a symphony over here.
Such flatulence.
Alright, 124.
Okay.
124 is when Gabe was smoking and I was shitting my pants.
Nice.
So,
Alright, back on this card. Okay, so Deadly Cover Up. You already read it. So it's a board wipe for 5. And if you collected evidence, you exile a card from your opponent's graveyard, then search their graveyard hand library for any cards with the same name and exile them as well. Then they shuffle and they draw for each card exiled from their hand this way. So that end clause is just to prevent the ultimate feels bad of like
yeah.
there was 2 in their hand and then they just, never play Magic again because that was awful. So this card seems like whatever. It's a 5-mana board wipe. You play this in limited just because it's a 5-mana board wipe.
Yeah.
So generally you always play board wipes in limited because your opponent's not supposed to play around it and it's in your hand.
Yeah. Because in constructed, you're always going to have them.
It does suck if you're ahead and draw it late, because then you're like,
Yeah. Oh yay.
It does nothing.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
would kind of suck.
I don't
I
care.
think it's okay.
The art's incredible, but I don't
The
care.
art is really cool.
The art is really good.
$20.
Is it me now? Or was Jacob originally?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you. It's you.
Homicide Investigator, 1 and a black. Creature Human Detective at rare, and it's a 2/2. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die and investigate, this ability triggers only once each turn. But you can do it. It's just good. It's just good.
It's fine.
I mean,
You can't do anything fun with it.
You can't do anything fun with it. No.
It's fine. It's good and limited. Like, you trade off a creature, you draw a card.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess
Cool.
it's. Yeah, this card is just fine in everything.
Mhm.
It's just fine in everything.
It's
Like
just
in a low power sacrifice deck, this is like fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't like when they put all the lockdown on it. It's just like,
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
guarantee
like,
this card's just fine. This card is cool. I get the cool one. Thanks, guys.
That is a cool one.
Hunted Bone Brute. 2 and a black for a
Kills
skeleton
art.
beast. At rare. It's a 6/2 menace. 6/2 menace for 3.
That's tough.
When it
What?
enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2 1/1 white dogs, because the dog can take out the Bone Brute, because it's hunted. But when it dies, they lose 3 life.
As disguise.
That's the point. The point is it has
Jesus.
disguise. Because when you undisguise it, it does not enter the battlefield, so they don't get the dogs.
Right.
So it's a 6/2 menace for 5.
6/2 menace for 5. That when it dies, they lose 3 life.
6/2 menace is scary.
Yeah. This is probably pretty good and limited. It's pretty good and limited because they're not gonna play around you undisguising a 6/2 menace for 2. So you can probably bait them into like racing, because one, if you disguise something, you're probably not in a good position to race, so they're probably attacking you just because that's a slow play. So then you attack. If you ever attack and undisguise this once and they can't block it, it's terrible news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's terrible news. Because they always have to hold back 2 blockers for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And even when they kill this thing, it's probably taking out 2 things and they're losing 3 life.
Yeah. It's almost a third of your
This thing
starting
is
health.
broken and nuts.
I wouldn't say all that, but yeah, it's pretty good and limited.
For limited.
Because you
Like,
can you can never
I-
play this face up. You can never play this card face
No,
up.
no.
It's really bad face up.
It's just so good otherwise.
Because it gives your opponents the dogs to just trade. So, like,
Yeah.
it's just bad. I guess if you can kill the dogs easily somehow,
Yeah, you
like
just
if there's
play
a
it face
common,
up, kill the dogs.
yeah, if there's some card that just can deal with 1/1s very easily, like for free, then maybe that could be a thing. So in Commander, you can give it to the opponent you have no intent of attacking. So
You could always just sing grab your sword right after you
Yeah.
play it.
exactly. Yeah, so in Commander, this is basically just a 6/2 menace for 3. And each opponent loses 3 life when it dies. They really tried to make this thing, like, maybe playable in Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because each opponent loses 3 life is especially good in Commander.
That seems pretty good. And the fact
Yeah,
that it doesn't make dogs at all.
I'm sure losing 3 life is a threshold for a lot of other cards too in Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would only
Yeah, I
be in
can see that
Commander.
be a
The problem is you're really going to piss some people off.
yeah. They just wanted to make sure words took up that
That's
whole
fine.
spot.
Yeah, exactly. They
You're
went out of their
playing
way
this-
to give this enough words.
If you're playing this card, you're trying to piss people off.
Notice that this card legit has 4 ability, or it has a mechanic and 3 abilities. It's insane.
Yep.
So much words.
Oh my
This,
god, what a
this
great
art's so
game.
good. This art's so good. Here's it.
That
It's
is
you.
really cool
It's
art.
you. It's you, buddy.
It's you.
I just won.
No, it's you. It's you, Jacob.
The illicit masquerade. What?
You said that so far. The illicit masquerade.
I thought I read it incorrectly, and I
No,
leaned
you
in, and I
nailed
was
it.
like, no, it says illicit masquerade.
No, you nailed it. You nailed
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah, you got it.
3 to black. It's just an enchantment. It's rare. It has flash, which we love.
We lit.
Flash is always fun.
Yeah, that's always good.
When illicit masquerade enters the battlefield, put an imposter counter. What is an imposter counter?
We're about to find out.
On each creature you control.
You're an imposter.
I'm the imposter.
You're the imposter.
He's the imposter. Okay, whenever
I'm
whenever
the
a
OG.
creature you
I don't know
control,
what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're an OG. You're fine. I'm the imposter. Okay, continue. Let's find out what the imposter does.
Okay, whenever a creature you control with an imposter counter on it dies, exile it. Return up to one other character. Return up to one other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't know why I couldn't say other target
broke down
creature
halfway
card.
through.
Other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. When a creature you control dies with an imposter counter on it, exile it. Return it to one other target creature. What am I?
It's
What am I doing here, and why am I doing it?
like that's why I was having trouble reading it because I didn't know what I was reading.
All my creatures have imposter counters,
Yeah.
and when one of them dies, it goes away, which means that
You get
it
something
can't be
from your battle.
reanimated
Graveyarded.
to reanimate something else. So you have to already have things in your graveyard, and then
Could be-
this.
you
so
could
this
also be-
is
You could play this in a sacrifice deck where you're like self-milling and sacrificing things, and
well,
like
I
be
don't
like creating 1/1s and sacrificing them
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like get bombs.
I don't even think you have to sacrifice necessarily. Like thinking again in terms of limited. In terms of limited, you're just like self-milling, and then you just want to be making 1/1s or playing 1/1s that go 1-for-1. Like a 1/1 that draws a card when it comes into turn comes into play, or a 1/1 that makes your opponent discard when it comes into play. Because it's just going to trade into reanimating something from your graveyard for free.
You just have to have stuff there.
And let's not forget what's our favorite part of it.
It has flash.
It has flash. The shit has flash.
This is a weird new world of flash on enchantment.
Dude,
Possibilities that are endless.
imagine you're like in black blue self mill or something, and you mill like 3 big things in your graveyard, and you have like a 2/2 and 2 1/1s in play. Your opponent's like swing out, and you're like
You're just like,
"Listen, masquerade.
thanks for swinging.
Trade off the thing, smash you. with my
Holy
board."
moly! This
So it's
card
fun.
seems
It's fun.
very good.
I don't think it's very good. I think it's fun. It's still a lot of hoops to jump through. It's like you merely need big things in your graveyard, also little things in play, also holding 4 mana up at instant speed.
But even in limited,
It's fun.
even if limited, just the ability to trade things off and then
Yeah.
get something out of your
Mhm.
graveyard
That's
later in the
true.
game is insanely strong.
Yeah, I think it's quite good
Even
in
if you are
limited.
losing 3 good things and trading off only one of them, you're getting 3 things back. Like
Nothing that it's asking of you is unreasonable, but you always just have to keep in mind that like this is like you don't draw this and you're just like, oh, this is good. You know, like that angel. You know what I mean? Like, what if you top deck this when you have no creatures
who picks who
in play?
takes damage first, defender or attacker?
Simultaneous.
What do you mean?
It's
No, I'm
simultaneous.
saying like. So like, but I'm saying like when you choose your defenders, which of all of them die simultaneously?
Simultaneously, yes.
So if they
Damage
all die
resolves at the same time.
simultaneously, could you return any of them to the graveyard?
Any of what? Any of your
Uh,
opponents? This is
No,
only
any
your
of
graveyard.
imposter creatures that die. I know.
I don't know what you're asking. When one of your creature dies, you return a creature that didn't have an imposter count, or you just return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. What? I'm not sure what
They're
you're
not
asking.
in the. I'm saying none of the creatures are in the graveyard that are being attacked. To then return to the battlefield, because they're not in the graveyard yet. Is what I was saying. Like my point was you could like two of those creatures couldn't die.
No, because if they have imposter counters on them, they get exiled. So if you blocked with something with an
Oh,
imposter
right, getting
counter
exiled. Right,
and
right,
with
right,
some
right, right.
and something without no, but it so you do have a valid question. Let's say you play a creature after you play this, so it does not
Yeah.
have an imposter counter on it, and then they both die. The ability will trigger after it's died, and they die simultaneously, which means they are in the graveyard. So this can reanimate something that blocked with it if the thing did not have an
Or if you
imposter
use
counter.
it, or if you use this on the board wipe.
Yes, it works with the board wipe as well.
Interesting.
It can reanimate because basically the board wipe will resolve. The creature will die. Moving to the graveyard will trigger the dice trigger. Then the dice trigger goes on the stack.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah,
Cool card.
yeah, it's neat.
Really cool art too. I like
Yeah, it's
that.
really cool art.
Great art.
So, quick question,
Yeah.
completely unrelated.
Sure,
If you have control over someone else's card
sure.
and it dies, does it go to your graveyard?
It goes
or
to theirs.
It goes to theirs.
Oh.
Like
Wow,
if you
that's
have
actually a very
control
simple.
over it.
That's a very simple question that I know. I think it.
It goes to your graveyard.
It goes to whoever's.
You're saying something that they have of yours.
Like it. If I control something and I give it to you, like give you control
should
over
know
it
that.
and it
I'm-
dies, whose graveyard?
I'm pretty
is it?
sure it's the person that
I think-
control it.
I think it's owners.
I'm gonna edit this out. Goes to the graveyard of the owner. So the first thing I said was right. What Gabe said was right. Yeah.
Whoever
Yeah.
controls it.
Goes. No, it goes to the
Oh, to
owners.
the owner,
To
okay.
the owner's graveyard.
Okay.
Yep. Good question.
Next card.
Right.
Massacre Girl. Known killer. Feels right to have this card. Two
Is
and
this-
2 black.
Is this me or is this you?
Jacob took 8
Yeah, you're
years.
right. You're right.
Card.
Jacob did take 8 years. All right.
It took 8 years.
I just expected that I was gonna get the best one again, but I guess not.
Yeah, sorry. Legendary creature, human assassin, mythic 4/4, menace. Creatures you control have wither. They deal damage to creature in the form of negative or -1/1
Kill
counters.
indestructible
Whenever-
things.
Yes,
They don't give a
whenever a
shit.
creature
Yeah.
opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card. Okay. So yeah, this card is ridiculous.
It's really good.
It's insane, and in general, it's a 4/4 for 4 and a menace. So it's
Mhm.
very good, limited, like
Yeah.
extremely good.
Immediately good.
It's entirely unfair.
then-
Limited.
Yeah.
It's entirely. Unfair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
this is the when someone plays it on you
Oh,
in
yeah.
limited, you're like,
Oh,
alright.
if you're 2 packs in, and you're on the 3rd pack, and you just open this card, you're suddenly in black.
Yeah, you're in black. It is double black.
You don't. Yeah, you're picking black cards for the rest of the
Yeah.
draft. I mean, yeah, this card is just very, very, very good.
This set, so since it's in Ravnica, it's actually primarily a 2-color set, which means it's going to have a lot of support for like mana fixing or
Has to.
specifically for playing 2 colors.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So yeah, this makes combat completely impossible for your opponents because Wither isn't when you're attacking; it's just all the time.
Yeah.
So basically, it says if any trade ever happens,
Yeah.
I get to draw a card because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dealing damage in the form of Wither. Yeah, it completely nullifies indestructible. If you combine Wither with First Strike, it's offensive because it shrinks their creature before it does damage.
Wow.
This thing has Menace, so it's also very aggressive. A 4/4 Menace for 4 is a whole house into itself.
yeah.
This is like the thing.
Terrifying massacre girl.
Even though a 4/4 Menace is such a house, I don't really see you attacking with this thing just because its abilities are so insane.
Yeah, Jacob, there are a lot of massacre girls, by the way.
Yeah.
This card has come up many a time. But also, like,
she's always pretty good. She always has to do with -1 on this one.
Yeah.
Like, it's very strong.
Yeah.
Did I do it?
You have to be more specific. It's very she's got very Harley Quinn Joker vibes in this.
Yeah, she
this
does.
This card's amazing. In limited, obviously an S++ here. Fun and other things as well. What this does, notice is whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, and notice that Wither says deals damage, not combat damage.
Yeah.
So
any.
So Orcish Bowmasters, which you're going to give me reference, it's a 1/1 for 1 and a black flash.
Yeah.
When this comes into play, and whenever your opponent draws, shoot something for 1 damage and make a 1/1. But the 1/1, if you already have the 1/1, it grows +1/+1 instead of making another 1/1. So with this, it also draws whenever it kills something. It's just...
This card is dumb.
Yeah, it's good. It actually has potential legs in other formats. I mean, and it would have to have legs in Modern to see play with Orcish Bowmaster, which that's a tall task for a 4/4 for 4.
Yeah.
A 4/4.
A 4/4 for 4. But Orcish Bowmasters is really nuts. And an Orcish Bowmaster that can draw multiple cards is more nuts. This is...
Sure.
I like this. Let me see if I can wish for this. Outrageous robbery. X black for an instant at rare. Target opponent exiles top X cards of their library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were any type to cast it. That hurt. Unfortunately, I wasn't listening to myself.
I wasn't either.
Do you have any idea what this card does?
Yeah. So
it exiles things.
you can look at things from X amount of cards that were exiled and cast them at any time.
He's just robbing a place and breaking a mirror on the way out.
It's outrageous robbery!
It's a robbery.
He killed everyone. He trashed the place.
Yeah,
he did. He killed that poor man.
Oh, yeah.
He's dead.
Oh yeah. No, he absolutely murked them. Yeah, this man didn't. He wasn't fucking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can cast them for any mana cost, which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this card is weird, right?
So this is
probably playable in like a 5-color deck.
This is draw. At instant speed, this is draw X cards from your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's better. It's better than draw X cards from your opponent's deck. Unless you're looking for draw triggers. It does dodge Orcish Bowmasters.
Interesting.
Because it just exiles them permanently, and you can cast them as long as they're exiled. So... And they don't know what you got. So it's better than draw in the sense that you can always cast them, and they can't interact with them because they're not in your hand. Which with, like, Grief actually matters.
In Commander, this is broken against tutors.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tutors to top of deck.
Yeah, if they don't draw it immediately. Yeah, it's pretty good against tutors.
Or it's an instant. As soon as they use it, you can play it.
Oh, yeah, in response to them trying to draw?
Yes.
That's pretty funny. It is pretty pricey. Like, you're not thrilled about paying 6 mana to draw 4 cards, even at instant speed.
But if you know it's there, know it's something good, like, you can just play it for 3.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but I don't think it's very good. I don't hate it. I love the flavor of it again.
I do think it's expensive.
All right. I dare you to top that reading.
Vein Ripper.
Gross. This art is wild.
Yeah, this art is really cool.
Yeah.
This is mythic.
All right.
This better be badass.
Vein Ripper, 3 and 3 black. Creature, vampire assassin. And it is a legendary.
No.
Mythic.
It's
Mythic. Mythic, I'm sorry, I played too much Lorcana. This has flying. Ward if you sacrifice a creature.
No, you're Australian.
Yeah, I changed it up.
That always happens.
Whenever a
All
creature
over the
dies,
place.
target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. By the way, this is a 6/5. I forgot to read that
6/5
part.
flyer. Unimportant. 6/5
Yeah.
flyer for 6.
Do you
In
understand
order to
word
target.
sacrifice the creature, Jacob?
Ward means that in order to target this, you have to pay that cost if you're the opponent.
Oh, yeah, I know that. What did I say?
You didn't say anything.
I read Ward sacrifice a creature.
You did. He was asking you what Ward did. If you knew what Ward
Oh,
did.
yes,
what
yes,
Ward
I do know what Ward did.
Okay.
Ward did.
He did. I did make him just draft. He hadn't played Magic in like 3 months, and I was like, draft Ravnica Remastered
It was tough.
with people that know how to play Magic by
Hey,
yourself.
you want
You want a match. You
I want a match.
Want a match.
Good
So
enough.
whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. This is
Yeah.
meaty. This is not a mythic.
Yeah, it is.
This is not a mythic.
Yeah, it's orange.
No, it's not a mythic.
It has an orange sword. It's a mythic.
You know what I say? I say
can't
give me this
argue.
card out. I play
I can't
Magic.
argue. I'll say this for it. It's hard for control decks to interact with this because you have to have a creature.
Yeah, you have to
You
sacrifice.
have to
sacrifice
have a creature.
Yeah.
Also, this is hilarious if you're just playing like a ton of.
Does that count
life.
for creature dying?
Or not like a sacrifice deck. Like you, huh? Does that count itself?
No.
Dying?
So in order to hit it, they have to
Yeah.
sacrifice a
No, it
creature,
counts that for sure.
and that means they lose 2 life and you gain
You
2
gain 2
life.
Yeah, but also if you have a sack outlet, this just wins the game, right? You have a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
You just play it, sack a bunch of nonsense. They can't even respond to it. They just lose.
Yeah. I was just
Yeah,
thinking
if
about
you
because like
they
drafting
lose.
is what I've done the most.
Yeah.
You can draft around this card.
I think Unlimited this is fine. I think Unlimited this is fine.
In
It's just-
limited, this is the house because it's a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Six-
A
6/5.
6/5 flyer with ward, if any relevant ward is already very
Yeah,
playable.
Yeah, this is obviously good.
It goes really funnily with the 6/5 menace. You create 2 creatures. You kill yours, both of those. They lose 3 life. They lose 2 life. You gain 2 life.
It also counts itself. It sees itself die.
Yeah.
Also, it sees everything die if there's
Is
a board
that a
wipe.
magic rule if the
That's a
card
magic
says
rule,
that? Okay.
That's why
But four
typically it
health
says
swing
another.
a
It
lot.
typically says another creature dies. Huh?
In limited, Jacob, a 4 health swing is a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking with it paired with the other card too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an 8 life swing in order to target this thing,
Yeah.
which is that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, in limited, this is actually just saying that out loud. This is even much better than I thought in limited. This
Limited,
is
yeah,
almost
yeah, yeah.
unbeatable.
And if you attack with it, they have to.
swing.
What they're gonna block with 2 things.
Yeah,
All
this,
3 of the
this is-
creatures die. They still take 6.
This might actually be the strongest thing we've seen in limited so far. I don't know. Massacre Girl's pretty
Yeah.
silly, but I'm not sure how you're beating this really.
It is only 6, but also costs 6.
Well, it's so
Yeah.
in order to efficiently remove this, not in combat because that would kind of be a miracle to deal with this thing in combat in
Yeah.
limited. In order to deal with this, you have the privilege of 2-for-1ing yourself
Yeah.
and losing 8 life, or like having an 8 life swing. That is efficiently dealing with the card. That's what you want for your 6 mana bomb.
Yeah. This card sucks.
You have to sacrifice a creature and then exile it. Exiling isn't dying, right?
Exiling is not dying. Correct. That is the most. You just 2-for-1 yourself and have a 4 life swing.
Right. And then
the
they
best
just
case
pull it
scenario.
out of exile.
That's very unlikely to happen, actually.
Oh yeah.
Out of the graveyard
Awesome,
could happen.
even.
But you can move things from your exile to your graveyard, then pull them.
No, the other way around is what happens. Graveyard
Oh.
out. Very few things come back from exile.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Unless it was intentionally put in exile, like off of a deck,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then
Or like the
that
card that
other
we
card we
just
saw.
said.
Yeah, that card we just saw.
Yeah. Like that's like a separate exile
The-
deck.
This
So
flavor,
it's like you have your exile pile, but like those cards are exiled into, like realm almost.
The flavor
the
text.
flavor
is
text
great.
is amazing. I'm afraid your investigation has reached a dead end.
And the
I
play a
didn't-
deal investigation has reached a dead end.
Yes, that's exactly how Vane Ripper sounds.
He's a mean Frenchman.
I'm afraid your investigation has reached a dead end. I'm Vane Ripper. That's awful.
I'm afraid your investigation.
Onward.